A curious thing, too, I noticed, as a younger man, I lived in Newfoundland, and there was an abundance of fish in the ocean there. Codfish was primarily the main staple. And today, visiting there recently, I find that the local people are forbidden by law to fish for cod. That's due to the destruction of the abundance of fish that was there.
To the perceived shortage?
A perceived shortage. And so I was wondering, these are things that we see in our physical reality, and are trying to jive that with abundance.
Well, when we say to you that you are so free in your thinking that you can choose bondage, and you are so free in your thinking in the realm of limitness that you can still limit yourself. Shortage is a perception, and so as you perceive shortage, you create shortage. But it is not a natural consequence of you using up ideas or you using up resource. In the same way that you create abundance, you create shortage.
I don't get it. It seems to me if there aren't any fish to be had, or very few, they're trying to leave what's there to replenish the existing stock, the former stocks. So it seems like it's evident that there is a shortage.
If you were searching the seas and had the ability to search all of the seas and count the fish and tell us that there are fewer today, then we might say that your theory about shortage has been validated by your counting. But when you go to a place where there once were fish and you say there are not fish here now, therefore there is shortage, we say the fish have migrated to a place where there is not a concentrational focus of shortage. In other words, if you are a fish and you are following the inspiration that comes forth from your broader perspective, and your broader perspective says there are no fish here because there is shortage here, you don't go there. We're not kidding you. In other words, there is not a shortage of fish. And so we can feel what you're getting at. You're saying, Abraham, these truths are self-evident. These truths are proven by statistics and by those who count the fishes. This is a truth. How can you say there is no shortage when I have this truth of shortage? And we say, you can pick anything, wanted or not wanted, and make it your truth. Someone can go to a place where there is said to be no fish and find none. Someone can go to the place who does not know that and find a boatload.
Can I tell a fishing story?
You can.
Thank you. So we were up in northern Canada years ago when I used to be a fishing fanatic. And Hank, a guy, an aerialist, and I went out and rented a boat on the lake up there. And we went out and we fished, and first time the lure went out, a fish came up out of the water, like about an 8-pound fish, and down he went to the bottom, and then we landed another, and then we landed another one, and then we landed another one. Oh, and we had the boat so full, we had like this much boat out of the water as we're coming back slowly, afraid we weren't going to capsize with this boat full of hundreds of pounds of fish. And we got in, the guy that owned the fish dock, he said, what happened? I said, we were just fishing. He said, how'd you do that? I said, we were just using these gypsy daredevils. He said, but you know, he said, nobody's caught a fish here all year. He said, I'm about to go out of business. And he said, and the only reason I'm staying in business, people don't know you can't catch any fish here. And he says, I knew you weren't going to catch anything, but I wasn't going to tell you. But you guys didn't know you couldn't catch any fish. And he said, look what you've done. Anyway, it's amazing how there was no fish in that lake until we, who didn't know there were no fish in that lake, fished there. And then there were a lot of fish in the lake. Well, there were less when we left, but anyway.
Sign me up on your next trip.
That is more or less what we were saying.
I like that. Okay.
If you have the ability through the format of your life to define a desire for something, the environment in which you live has the wherewithal to provide it for you, no exceptions. Which means if every person on the planet wants a fish, this environment can give them a fish. And if every person on the planet wants 2 fish, this environment can give them 2 fish. And if they want 10 fish, the environment can give them 10 fish. And Source orchestrates the birthing of the fish to accommodate the desires that are being allowed. And all things are that way. You are more powerful than you know. And more worthy than you know. That's the clincher often.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.